Hello and welcome to the Valley. Today I am your host, Janet Michael. It is Old Town Winchester Day, so I am sitting at the Typewriter Studio with Brady Cloven. He is the executive director for the Friends of Old Town. Another brand new and really cool space that you have brought me to here today, Brady.
Yeah, I'm excited because this one is in that secondary district, which we really don't get a lot of love to, but we're here on Braddock Street, so that's pretty exciting.
I have yet to figure out how you determine or who determined primary, secondary, because to me this is primary. I guess Old Town Walking Mall is primary and anything in the surrounding areas is secondary?
Yeah, so your primary is the Loudon Street Mall, the proper mall, and then that secondary is that ring outside. So your Cameron to Piccadilly and Cork, and then Braddock up to on the side too. It's like a little rectangle area.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've always wondered exactly what's included where.
It's funny because I was speaking at a club last week and there were three different definitions. There was our version of Old Town, the historic district, and then what people refer to as downtown.
Right.
And it's like, well, how do you, who comes up with this? And that's a city problem. So that's fine. I'm happy to hand it off to them. Yeah. Tim Humans was there at the meeting and he stepped in and I was like, thank God that he was here to explain where all this came from. I mean, if you go all the way back to the 70s where they made the primary, secondary tax assessment district, that's what they put in there.
Yeah.
So
I was here then, except I wasn't paying taxes because I was like 12.
Not paying? Oh, okay. I was like, whoa. You might want to pause this.
I wasn't 12, I swear. I was 7.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm making myself even older than I am now, which is also ironic because when I walked in the door here, I told Jill that I'd actually been here before when I was a teenager because this used to be the place where my mother would send me to get the typewriter ribbons for her typewriter. So the Typewriter Studio is in the old Renter's Typewriter something or another, Jill?
Old typewriter repair shop and supply shop, and it was that for a number of years that I don't know the specific number to, but I thought that was such a unique history. I wanted to keep it in the name, and stories like that, it's like, oh yeah, no, that's why I wanted to keep it, because people remember coming here and it being filled with typewriters. The typewriter poet guy who lives right down the street, he stopped by and he was like, are there going to be typewriters here? And he was like, I have 80 typewriters, can I bring them here?
He should do a show with some of his written word and the typewriters.
Some of the typewriters he has, they all, a bunch of them from Old Town, the addresses that the typewriters belongs to, and several of them have this address on them.
Oh yeah.
So I was like,
it's
that's
really cool.
Yeah.
And they managed to hang on for, I mean, even when my mother upgraded to an electric typewriter, this is where you came to get those little things that would do the white over top of it so that you could then just retype. I know, there are probably teenagers going, she's speaking a foreign language right now. I have no idea what's happening.
I wrote all of my papers on an electric typewriter until I was in middle school.
Yes. Yeah, and it's typing.
We didn't have a computer.
Yes, typing is what has given all of us the two spaces after a period.
Yes.
Just so people will know when they see that coming up on the internet again.
Yeah.
So Jill Savory.
Yes.
Tell me why in the world you would come here and open Typewriter Studio. What is it? How did you get here?
Well, I've been an elementary art teacher for about a decade. And so teaching art and art in general is just the thing that I'm really passionate about. And I think that it's a very part of being a human person. So I'm really passionate about that. And this past year, we just needed a change in our family life. We needed a little bit more flexibility and a different schedule. And being a school teacher doesn't really provide that, believe it or not.
People think that it does because they're laboring under this delusion that you get the whole summer off.
Yes.
But that doesn't make it flexible because you still have to work school hours during school times.
Yes, and you have to work a minimum of school hours, but to do any of the things that make great teachers great, you have to do more. So we were at school until 5 or 6 p.m. every night with both of my kids, and there's just a lot that goes into teaching, and it is more than a labor of love. The teachers who are super bought in, it's really hard to set those boundaries because you know why you're doing it and you love those kids.
It's a calling.
So much. I was the art teacher there for 9 years, and when you're a resource teacher is what they call art and music and library and PE, and we get to teach the kid for the whole 6 years that they're there. So you really get to know them and really get to know their families, and you get to have a really deep relationship with them, and carrying that much love around for 500 kids and then your own kids is really heavy. It is a privilege. and it is heavy. So we just needed a little bit of a change. And this opportunity came because my husband had inquired about this space for an office, and then he ended up not needing it. And he was like, but do you want to have an art studio? And he had been pestering me forever. But he was like, you could teach art and still make a living. And I was like, no, people wouldn't pay for me to do my job. And he was like, yes, they would. And so we sat down and did the numbers. We found out the space was still available like the beginning of spring break, and by the end of spring break we were like, okay, we could make this a real thing. And we had talked to Andy Culp, who is in the gallery right now, during that same week, and we were like, if we opened a gallery, would you want to be our opening show? And all of the pieces just fell together really, 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 really quick. I'm working with the Peter Bolo Foundation a little bit to supplement the rent here, and so there's just been a really, all of it just meshed together. There's been a really cool, I don't believe that things happen for a reason most of the time. This was one of those things where I was like, oh no, this is like perfect timing and divine timing, and I don't even know if I believe that. But it truly was it all came together really perfectly.
So your husband,
Yes.
Ben
Yes.
Savory from Summit Events, many of my listeners know who he is. He had a commercial for the longest time
Yes, he
because
did.
he did me a solid and I repaid him by giving him a free spot in the Valley Today. How many times in the last couple of months has he said, see, I told you this would work. Didn't I have a great idea, honey?
So I would like to say that I did the same thing to him to start Summit. So he went through like a bunch of job changes. He worked for a nonprofit for a while, and then he worked at a tech company in Leesburg, and then he was a home inspector, and that was all within like 2 or 3 years. And
I
all
did
the
not
while,
picture him as a home inspector.
He's really good at it, apparently. He can look at your stuff. He doesn't have a license anymore. He can tell you if things as you should be worried. All that time he was DJing weddings during the weekends, and I was like, why don't you just do that? Because he would work all week long. Oh, and he worked at Timber Ridge during that time too. So he was like, but he was DJing and I was like, just do that. Like, why can't you just do that? Because you're like working all week and I'm working all week, and then you're gone on the weekend. So we're never seeing each other. He's like, I don't know if we can make it work. I don't know if we can make it work. And so eventually he did. He quit all of the other jobs and he just did his job. So we've done it to each other.
And he's doing very well.
Yes, he's doing very well.
So that's got to give you a little bit of
Yes.
a, you know what, Ben did this and we were a little worried in the beginning, but
Yes.
it's worked out very well. So that's what I'm going to use as my motivation
Yes.
to keep pushing forward.
Yes, and he's been very humble and not very rub your nose in it. I wish I could say that I have been the same to him, but there have been so many times where I'm like, hey, look, we got to go on vacation this year. Remember that one time you worked like 4 jobs and we still couldn't make ends meet? And now you're doing one thing that you like? Oh my gosh, look, I'm so smart. He's a little bit more humble than I am in that instance.
And this isn't just a studio, and I say just, which is not the right word at all, but you're also teaching classes for
Yes.
any age. As an adult, I can come and learn how to do something artsy here,
Yes.
or I can bring my 7-year-old, my 13-year-old.
Yeah, so we are offering classes for really any age. We are hoping to start to do some preschool age stuff in the coming school year. So we've got adult clay classes, we've got watercolor classes for adults and kids. Right now we're doing a kids clay camp, which is why there's stuff everywhere. Don't look back there, there's clay splattered on the wall, it's fine. Yeah, so we've got a little bit of something for everybody. Andy Culp, our artist who's in the gallery right now, he's hosting a collage workshop that's almost sold out. And he was like, no one will want to come and learn how to do this. And I was like, Andy, yes, they would. So that's almost sold out. And we're looking forward to having a kids art club after school one day in the fall. And we're going to have more polymer clay earring workshops, and cookie decorating workshops are the things that we've done so far that people have been like, please do more of these. So
I
I'm
like
looking forward to
the
it.
bringing the cookies into the mix for multiple reasons,
Yes,
but
me
because
too.
it doesn't pigeonhole you into,
Yeah.
oh, it's just clay, or oh, it's just watercolor. Art comes in all sorts of forms.
Exactly. And cake decorating, you can't tell me if you watch those cake decorating shows that it's not art. It's art. I don't know.
Oh, it's absolutely art.
Like, I think of the cookie decorating kind of as a paint night. Yes, we're all making the same thing, but you're learning the valuable skill, and now you can be confident in taking the next step if you want to. So we're going to do some cookie decorating things, and I'm going to work with Tiffany from Served Up Sweet. I'm going to see if maybe she'll want to do a design your own half dozen, or that's in the works.
Oh, I like that idea. But yeah, don't think you can watch those cake decorating shows and then throw some icing in a Ziploc bag, cut the corner, and because that, trust me.
Yeah, exactly.
That doesn't
Same.
work. And then you're left with just eating all of the icing out of the bag.
Oh
and
man, that sucks.
I
Huh?
know, it's the best kind of like, oh, that didn't turn out right, because then you still get to eat it.
right? So because you're located on Braddock Street, what do you do about parking?
Oh, that's such a great question. So parking at the meters is free on the weekends, which we love. And there is metered parking on Braddock, but the parking on Cork is free, up the hill on Cork. So that's the only bummer, is you do have to take a few extra steps. But then you come in here and you sit down for quite a while, and I keep it really cold. And in the winter, I'll keep it really warm. So the parking isn't my favorite situation, but it's walkable because it's downtown, which is wonderful.
This space isn't set up for you to have a class that has 30 or 40 people in it anyway.
No, we cap at 20. And having come from teaching in public school, where I'm used to 24 is like a good number, where we celebrate and we're like, oh good, yay, 24 is not that bad. Now we're having classes of 10, and I'm like, oh, this is wonderful.
Right.
It is so nice. I actually get to talk to you and learn about who you are and why you came, and actually get to look at everybody's stuff and help everybody. So the small class sizes, I think, is something that's going to make this really unique and sweet, and a good place to bring you and a couple of friends, or just you and your kid, because you're not having to shout over people, you're not having to fight for elbow room either. So it's intimate and fun.
When you talk about bringing a couple of girlfriends, can I call you up and say, hey, I've got 6 girlfriends and I want to do a paint night, or I want to make a mug, or something? Can I do like private parties?
Yeah, so we actually we just had someone email, and she was like, hey, we have a group of kids, we're doing like a kid camp, can we come over and do some stuff? What would you want to do? And I was like, absolutely. And they were elementary, middle school age, and they came and we made mugs. So we met 1 hour one week, and then the following week they came and glazed, and their stuff is in the kiln right now. And it was wonderful. So it was like two days, 1 hour each. And so I do all of those things. Email me and we'll figure it out. That's the nice part of being like small and a startup too, is like we can be flexible, and that was probably the most fun I've had teaching clay ever.
And so when we talk about teaching clay, that's an important thing to point out as well, is that I'm not coming in and picking something off of a shelf.
Yes.
So you're literally teaching them how to turn and how to shape and how to mold something into something that they then also get to paint and do all the things to. But you're doing that very critical first step, which I think is amazing.
Yeah, it's super fun. And we do mostly hand building. We do have 2 wheels. And those will be like, hey, me and my one friend want to come and I can teach you if it's just the 2 of you. But yeah, that is something I wanted to take clay classes a couple years ago, and my neighbor was like, oh, I go to Round Hill. And so we did that, which was great. And it was on a Thursday night, and the instructors there are wonderful and so sweet, and I learned so much. But it is also 45 minutes away. Right? Which I had an infant at the time and a toddler. So I was like, I am happy that I get to drive 45 minutes by myself. It was very therapeutic, but I can't do that now that we have soccer practices and that kind of stuff. So I'm excited to bring ceramic stuff here, because it's hard to do ceramic stuff, and the polka dot pot does do some, which is wonderful, but I think we need more than just some, because they only have limited space and I have limited space, so we can work together to serve the ceramic seeking people of the community.
I think you came in at a really fun time where I wouldn't say that we're an arts district, but we're definitely like an arts corridor kind of area, like just on the secondary ring of starting with the conservatory, and you hit Discovery Museum, which does stuff, and then you get you guys, and you go down the street, you have Easily Created, you have Polka Dot Pot, Shen Arts is back on the mall now. I think it's a really fun time to be an arts organization in any capacity on the mall, and we can only keep that going. Like we've talked about how this marriage of historical preservation and public art is one thing, but even just giving accessible art in spaces on an old mall is great. So I'm really excited that you're here, and especially on this street, I think we're going to see a lot more revitalization, for lack of a better term. I know that's everybody's favorite buzzword, but look at Piccadilly. Piccadilly a couple years ago was nothing, and now it's booming. And hopefully soon Cork, Braddock, and Cameron will do the same. So you're an anchor.
I'm really excited, and there's so many like-minded people, like the owners of Tin Top and Shen Arts folks, and A couple of other local business owners came to the gallery opening on Friday, and all of our conversations were, isn't this an exciting time to be an artist in Winchester? Isn't this an exciting time to be able to serve our community through art in this way? And it's tempting as a business owner view people who have similar businesses as competition, but it's just A, not true, and B, so exciting that that is not the mentality in Winchester. Just excited for each other, and I was like, whenever we have events, we should share each other's events, because we're not doing the same thing. People think art and they think it's all the same thing, but there's so many mediums, there's so many instructors and so many artists, there's plenty to go around, and we all serve, I think, a unique demographic of people. Like, I have a lot of kid clientele. Does that sound creepy? I don't know. We have a lot of kids camp stuff, and we're geared more toward the let's learn how to do it, not let's make something pretty. Let's learn the techniques. And I think all of the parts of let's make something pretty, let's learn the techniques, let's buy cool stuff, all of that is why art is important, and it is how art serves people. So it's really exciting that we're all excited about it together.
I'm particularly excited about the fact that I can come in here and know nothing, and you're going to teach it to me like I'm a third grader.
Yes, exactly.
Not look at me like, oh, you shouldn't come here.
Yes, yeah, no, and that's the great part about art is we should all continue to learn. And I think as grown-ups, we think, oh no, I know all the things to get by. But it is actually better for your brain to continue learning new things because of neuroplasticity. And if we stop learning, we become really set in those current synapses. But if you continue to learn new things, your brain is more flexible and retains information better and recalls information better. So it's like good for your mental health and your memory to continue learning. And so art is a great thing to learn to do that. It's fun, and you leave with something that looks cool.
So give me the address.
127 South Braddock Street.
What are your hours?
Our hours are right now when classes are, and they will be updated and posted soon. Because summer is a nightmare to schedule hours.
I can't even imagine. So where can people find information? Where can they see what your hours are when they get updated? Do you have a website? Do you have socials?
Yes. So our website is typewriterstudio.org, and we'll put hours, and all the classes are listed there. And then we're on Instagram at typewriter_studio.
We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to continue our conversation from the Typewriter Studio. Brady's going to give us a peek into August and what is happening downtown. We're going to do all that when we come back in just a couple of minutes. In just one day, you can help shape a stronger, more connected community. On September 19th, United Way of Northern Shenandoah Valley will lead Day of Caring, the region's largest single-day volunteer event. Over 900 volunteers will roll up their sleeves to help local nonprofits with projects that matter. Painting classrooms, repairing shelters, planting gardens, organizing food pantries. Whether you're a business looking to sponsor, a nonprofit in need of an extra set of hands, or a neighbor ready to serve, there's a place for you on Day of Caring. This is what community looks like when we come together. This is care in action. Learn how to get involved at unitedwaynsv.org/dayofcaring or email dayofcaring@unitedwaynsv.org. One day, hundreds of hands, lasting impact. Join us. Welcome back to the Valley today. I am your host, Janet Michael. It is all about Old Town Winchester today, secondary district, as I was educated earlier. Brady Cloven is here with me. He is executive director for Friends of Old Town. We're sitting at the Typewriter Studio. We heard from Jill Savory in the first segment about how cool it is to come and learn about art, to come and see art on the wall. Jill, I forgot to ask you, how long is this show up of Andy's?
So Andy Culp's stuff will be up through the month of August. We have our grand opening on August 14th with the ribbon cutting through the chamber, and so folks can come and be part of the party then too. And we'll have the gallery open for viewing then, and we'll do another show in September, and they'll run about monthly, and we'll do some special calls for local art too.
So speaking of local art,
Yeah.
How's the mural coming along?
It's going extremely well. Last time we talked, we were saying we had 48 submissions.
Still mind-blowing to me.
It's incredible, honestly. But I think it also pointed that we did the process correctly. Like, the Public Arts Subcommittee had a lot of great feedback to how to make an application process that was very inclusive and accessible for artists. So you didn't have to be somebody who was already extremely well established or had huge name recognition. But out of the 48 artists, we narrowed it down to a top 9 from the Public Arts Subcommittee. And this has people from Friends of Old Town, from Shen Arts, from Arte Libre, from pretty much every arts organization represented in Old Town. And then from that top 9, we went to the steering committee, which is building owner Brock Harris, the John and Janice Wyatt Foundation, and then somebody from Friends of Old Town just to steer it. Those top 9 were then made into a top 3, and each of those 3 artists were notified and then given a $500 stipend to actually give us their rendering of what it's going to look like on the building. And we recently received all 3. We're meeting again. By the time this recording is out, we'll have picked a winning artist. So we should be able to announce who that artist is next month and then get started on that mid-August. It's exciting.
I wish we had picked a later in the week recording date, because then you could have shown me. But no, because your show is airing this week.
Oh, darn. It's almost like I planned that, huh?
I know. I'm beginning to wonder about you, Brady.
But it's exciting. I mean, we've talked about how the South End needs some love. It needs some things to just brighten it up. And given how the makeup of Old Town goes, with the South End of the mall is traditionally more professional services that don't have a lot of storefronts that are pulling people in, let's maybe brighten it up with some public art. Let's do some things that are going to be a really good companion to the splash pads, to the toy shops we have down there, to the walkability of it. Make it a pretty walk.
And this is themed for Campaign for Grade Level Reading, which I'm sure probably, Jill, is very near and dear to your heart. So it's going to be about kids and books and happy, fun stuff.
Yeah, we have a lot of really great family-friendly things that happen on the mall, like the Typewriter Studio now. And I don't know that they get highlighted enough. And this is just another way to say, hey, this is a piece of art that's showcasing that part of Old Town, but also what else we're trying to do, and we're trying to show that you're all welcome here.
The other thing that's going to do that is Main Street Masterpieces.
It is. You say that name like you've heard it before.
I heard it literally 22 seconds ago before I hit record for the second segment.
So Main Street Masterpieces is another program we're working on with our design committee, that public arts subcommittee. A lot of times in main streets or old towns like ours, you have some vacant storefronts or underutilized storefronts. So going back to those professional services, your accountants, your lawyers, they don't necessarily need to use their windows. In Old Town, we're lucky that we don't have a ton of vacant storefronts, but where we do, they're kind of bulked together, like think your Boscowens, or it's a large area like the floor shop, the old floor shop across from Monument. So we've been working behind the scenes to talk to different building owners, working on getting a list of all the current building owners. But Main Street Masterpieces is going to do applications from local artists. And what they can then do is partner with Friends of Old Town to go into a vacant storefront in the windows and have their art displayed quarterly. There will be a QR code that links to our website that will have the artist information and a way for the artist to sell their art.
Yes.
And then we'll work on having the uplighting, getting the windows cleaned, all this. But really, it goes back into that walkability of Old Town. Like, imagine being on Boscawen and walking out of a broken window on a Friday night and looking across, and there's some really nicely uplit art instead of just a vacant building. And part of this could be, too, where if it's a vacant building that has something like that art pulling people there, maybe it attracts more investors and it shows, hey, I'm stopping to look at this a little longer, maybe I'm getting more
now
vision
I'm noticing the detail inside the building. This is a really good spot from an address perspective.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm super excited, and it goes back into us just trying to connect Old Town, and this is a way that we can connect people who maybe don't have a brick and mortar building in Old Town but want to be a presence here, and we'll embrace it. So yeah, I'm excited.
I love that you're not doing what a lot of small towns sometimes do, and I consider this to be a cop-out, my words, not no one else's, is that you're not just having somebody paint the windows.
Yes.
It's one thing to have cute little snowmen that are painted on a window when it's December, but I love that you're actually turning all of these empty storefronts into mini art galleries.
Yeah, I'm the first one to admit that I am not an artist by trade or
You
nature.
and me both.
I'm an executive director, and I'm pretty good at that. But with that, we've been really intentional with going around and trying to get as many of artist groups around to say, hey, we're not the experts on this, you all are, so why don't we do putting all of our resources together kind of thing. And all do something that's for the betterment of Old Town. That also helps artists in the process. I mean, we already have 3 or 4 artists who have applied for this just from word of mouth from the Public Arts Subcommittee. So
If somebody is listening and they didn't know it was happening and they want to be a part of it, is there something on your website that they can go to sign up or to reach out to you?
there will be. If you go on the website and you just do a generic submission right now, like a request for information, you want to be part of that, feel free to go ahead and do it early, but we will have a standardized application for that.
And History of Us, we're coming up on the end of this, well, we just finished, where are we in
Yeah,
the
we're at the
quarter?
end of quarter 2. So we had the first 5 go up. We have 6 buildings that are getting their stickers printed this week. So by the end of the month, maybe beginning of August, we'll have 6 new stickers where you can take a tour. And I'm excited because we have some really cool stuff on this one. This is moving into that secondary district a little more because, again, the purpose is to connect all of Old Town so that people are getting pulled through every corner of it. And we are working with the city to have a full-size map of where you can find all the locations currently on the kiosk in front of the Civil War Museum.
Nice.
Yeah, so if somebody goes up and they're like, man, I don't understand what these QR codes are, or maybe they have one and the app's not working for some reason, they can look at this map and see where to go.
I love that idea.
Yeah.
It ties everything back in together.
It does, yeah. But we've already gotten more volunteers signing up for this. And they're having some really fun meetings at the Hanley Archives. I could spend hours in the archives room.
Right.
That is really where I can nerd out because I will just go look through the ledgers from like the 1840s and be like, oh man, this is so cool. Find our house from back when it was made in 1941. Like it's just, I don't know. I could sit here for hours and talk about that. But if anybody's interested in volunteering in that, it is research heavy, but they do split into groups. So usually one group will have one building. They'll all meet together and each person gets a part. But we are still accepting applications and volunteers for that. It is a light lift. It's maybe 1 to 3 hours a month. It's not even that bad.
And then once it's done, you don't have to sign up for another building or do something else if you want to take a break because you're going on vacation.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not a long-term commitment, or it doesn't have to be either.
No. What you can do is what we'll take. You don't have to sign up for 20 hours a month to be a friend of Old Town.
So First Friday is going to be here before we know it. What's happening in August on the Old Town Walking Mall?
Well, July we just had our grunge themed, or I'm sorry, I kept calling it grunge, but Alice in Chains I guess is technically heavy metal.
I know, and then I was talking about, was it Southern rock grunge,
yeah.
and it threw off the whole conversation.
But that was actually pretty fun. So we're going to keep the decades moving along, and we're going to have a 90s alternative hip-hop night. So the band is called All That. They're a newer local band from here in Winchester. But what we're trying to do, too, with this series is showcase the local talent we have. We have a really great local music ecosystem, and between the Brightbox and Monument and the MSV doing their stuff, it's great that all of us can share the resources and highlight who's out there performing. So we're excited to be one of All That's first performance spots, but they will be on from 6:30 to 8:30, and then tons of restaurants and businesses will be doing their own 90s theme. I've heard that some restaurants are going to do their own version of gin and juice. So I guess we'll have to see who's going to do the best one. But yeah, I'm excited. It's I can't believe that we're already over halfway through the First Friday series. Isn't that crazy?
It's insane. The performances are at the Taylor Pavilion. So people can camp out down there and listen to the music before, after, or in between while they're running in, shopping, or getting something to eat.
Yeah, exactly. And it'll be Dora, which is that designated outdoor refreshment area. So you can grab a drink, take it with you, come out to the Taylor Pavilion. You don't have to just sit at Village Square, even though those are some pretty good seats near the pavilion. I felt really bad for the wine room because when the last band in July was doing their sound check, I was walking over near Sexy Mexy, making sure the signs were out, and I could hear them. And I was like, oh no. So I go over to the wine room and they had their windows open, and those poor employees were sitting there looking at me like I was the craziest person in the world. They were like, Brady, this is the loudest First Friday we've ever had. And I was like, I know, it's great, right? And we got them to come down a little bit, and it was still great. I had a ton of people come up and be like, man, it's been a long time since we had heavy metal on the mall.
I was saying, well, you can't play heavy metal at a low volume. That just is not how it works.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's been a fun summer so far. I mean, and you all know, July is like the dog days on the mall when people are in vacation mode, or you get those days or weeks where it's 95 plus out. It gets hard. So anything we can do to try to bring people downtown more and get them into stores, even if it's just saying, hey, come down and listen to some music, and if you want to cool off, go to Tin Top for their art show. I've been really thankful and blessed to be in a community where pretty much all of the merchants want to participate in some way. For the first Fridays, Carrie at Tin Top has a show coming out that I think she's partnering with somebody from PBF, Peterborough, actually.
Nice.
So some cross synergy there. Yeah, it's exciting. It's an exciting time to be in Old Town.
I think a First Friday theme should be disco, and you should do lights down on the splash pad and do some sort of Saturday Night Fever for adults dance off.
You know,
In the splash pad, that's what I'm
Yes.
seeing.
that could be good.
Right?
Somebody talked to me about creating an adult-only splash pad night. And I said,
I
maybe.
don't hate it.
Yeah. I said, maybe
I have to
we'll
wear
work on it.
clothes.
Yeah.
There has to be a certain level of.
Yeah.
But I think it would be really cool because I will lay you $100 on the table and bet you that most parents, when their kids are running around, are sitting there going, "Man, I wish I could get in there. Man, I
yeah,
wish I could jump
for sure.
around and play around in that."
Oh man. But yeah, so it's good. We also have a little special going right now where we have our fancy Friends of Old Town t-shirts, and anybody who donates $30 or more gets a free one that I will personally send to you with a nice little note.
Yeah, and there's nothing better than being a fancy friend.
No, there's not. We're formal friends, call it that. So yeah, not to keep saying it, but I mean, it really is an exciting time to be in Old Town. It's getting ready for the holidays coming up. We just had our community meeting for July that was all about public art in Old Town.
What's the topic for August?
August is actually going to be holiday planning. So we're going to talk about the Winter Village planning,
Wonderful.
Hallow Winchester that's going to be coming up in October. Anybody can come to those. Free and open to the public. They're at Brewworks the third Wednesday of each month from 3 to 4. You can grab a beer or a soda, sparkling water, sit there and listen to us give updates about Friends of Old Town, but then talk about this planning process and what you all want to see from these holiday events.
So where can people go get more information? Website, socials, give me all the details.
Yeah, our website is friendsofoldtown.org, and that's going to have our community calendar. That's also going to have a way to submit your events as a community member. So if you're doing an event and you want to showcase to everybody else, just throw it on there. That also is going to have our vendor application. So if you want to be a vendor at a First Friday or any other event, it's free of charge. I just need to know for planning purposes how many people are going to be there. And then also our social media is Friends of Old Town on Facebook, and then Instagram is Friends of Old Town Wink, WINC. Yeah, that's where everything is.
Fantastic. And one more time, Jill, where can people learn more about you at Typewriter Studio?
On our website at typewriterstudio.org, on Instagram, typewriter_studio, and also on Facebook, Typewriter Studio.
Thank you. Another job well done, Brady.
Yeah, thanks for joining me. I think this was fun.
And it
this
was
is
lovely
really
because
fun.
now I know both the Savorys.
I know. You can,
So excited.
You can get all the dirt from both sides.
I will be back on Monday with a brand new episode of The Valley today, a few minutes after noon. So meet me here then.